things set up. Twitter. Oh, not Twitter. Get the Discord taken care of. Almost done. And all right. Hello, everyone. This is Chris Ingerson, and it is October 2nd. We're in the October month finally. Uh, and this is the October 2nd Text Quest Devstream. So, today we are going to be talking feedback and notes from GDEX. I was over in Columbus, Ohio for GDEX this past weekend, and I got a decent amount of notes from just watching people play. It's mostly minor stuff. I have a few ideas that I would like to polish up and kind of adjust just to make them flow a little bit better in terms of, I think, how I want to present them and how I want people to interact with them. And we're just going to be focusing on some of that small stuff today, and I'll be periodically talking about how GX went throughout the week. Well, throughout the stream. But before we do that, I am going to take a drink. All right. So let me look at my notes real quick. The first thing I would like to do is going to be, let's see. One of the things that I have on my list that we won't start off with, we might start doing later on if we have time. If not, I will probably push this to Thursday. Is one of the big feedbacks, or big pieces of feedback that I got that makes a lot of sense and I just never thought about is people want more stuff in the castle courtyards. So if we, hold on, let me go ahead and play. So when you're in the castle, there are windows throughout the entire building that you can peek out through and see. Well, there's not much there. It's pretty much just a wall and grass. But I had a few people say that they would like to see more things out there, things for them to interact with. So, are we still getting that weird hiccup? We are. So strange. So I had a lot of people, in general, people always try to jump up and see what's out here. And you'll notice that there's not really a lot, which is kind of problematic. Really what should be out there is, things like fountains, pillars, pretty much what you would expect to see in a castle courtyard. So it would be nice just to add some detail to the castle level. It's pretty low hanging fruit. It doesn't have to be super detailed because it's all outside and you'll never actually interact with it. And I can do some fun stuff too, like make it completely 2D. I guess we'll see if I probably won't do that. But it gives us a chance to just kind of have fun and actually make the outside areas of the level feel a little bit more lived in. Now, not every single window has to have something cool to look at. Probably what we'll do is we'll put something out here, like a fountain with some benches and maybe a path. Then we can have a similar path be sort of drawn all the way around the perimeter of the castle. I guess actually the easiest thing to do is just going to be to do this. So let's just go ahead and fly up. So this is kind of what the structure looks like from above. There's not really a lot to it. I'm pulling a lot of old school tricks to just get things basically slightly out of view behind corners, and then I don't render anything. But I could probably have, say, like a path that's just a dirt path going all the way down here, across here. Have it cut through over to here. Have it go around this wall. Have it go through this path and end up at like a courtyard over here. Just as a nice thing to have for set dressing. And I probably would have, so like I said, fountain and benches over there. And I'm not really sure what I would want to put here. Maybe some statues and some shrubbery or something. Again, nothing crazy. Probably would just be like pedestals with the word statue on them. I wouldn't want to go too crazy, spend too much time on it. But it would just be a nice thing to have and to let people look at, really, So that's one of the big pieces of feedback that I got. Oh, that's really funny to look at. Huh. And let me see. Going back to the notes real quick. Yeah, it is. Oh, geez, I forget how blown out this stuff gets. We do have clouds here, and you can see those, but they're kind of not a lot of people notice those because they're so high up, and you never really get underneath them. You only ever really can see them at an angle. So some people have noticed them in the past, but I'm not going to change those. I'll keep those in. But yeah, it would be nice to have actual. I was going to say tangible, but that's not quite the correct word. Just more easily visible assets in the courtyards here. Okay, so that's something we're going to do, but probably not tonight. Um, Progressively more direct hints is something I've been thinking about for a while. So right now, if you type hint, you'll get. In this case, it's a pretty blatant hint. Sometimes it's cryptic, but if you just keep typing hint, then you just get the same hint over and over again. It might be good to have some sort of scaling system where, like, you ask for hint once, it gives you one hint. If you ask for it again, it gives you a slightly more direct hint. And then if you ask for it a third time, it doesn't just blatantly tell you the answer, but it might tell you a much more direct hint. And then at that point, it will just repeat. Um, the point of the hint system is really only to help out when you get really, really stuck. Uh, Not everyone uses the hints, but they're there because I wanted to try and give people an in-game way of getting recommendations when they do get stuck. That way, people don't just get stuck for 5 minutes and they're like, I don't know what to do, and then they just go off and look for the answer online. I really don't want to. I don't want to have people do that. Ideally, I would be able to keep things just in-game because I feel like if you're playing an adventure game and you just look up the answers online, that one is a failure of the adventure game, but two, it's also a bit of a cop out for the player because they're losing a bit of the experience. I feel. Um, One of the things, this is probably going to be the first thing we actually work on, is in Sierra mode. There is there was. I disabled it for this build actually because it was causing problems. Well, actually, it wasn't causing problems so much as it just looked bad in the build. Um, I added an indicator to show up in the corner of the screen whenever you're playing Sierra mode. And all that really did was put like a little S, I think, down at, I think it was, yeah, bottom left, maybe bottom right, depending on which hand you have. Um, but it didn't really work out in the build because for some reason UGUI decided to crap itself and put the label in the middle of the screen. Don't know why. But I think what I'm going to do there is instead of having, let's go ahead and go to no clip mode. Instead of having the indicator just be a separate label, I might actually have it be like a status label. So similar to how crouched and there we go, auto move work, as well as the darkness indicator, we might just set it up. So what the? Okay, we might just set it up so that Sierra mode is a little icon at the top left. It would probably be the topmost icon so that it can kind of fade away a little bit. But the idea there is that I just want to have some sort of visual indicator that you are in Sierra mode to help differentiate it from normal mode. Similar to how the main reason I do that is hello, the Palm Tree Llama. Welcome back. How are you tonight? The main reason I want to have that little feature, that little Sierra S, is it was something that worked. I feel in Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, they had a Triforce that showed up at the bottom corner when you were playing on hero mode, and I think it's just a way to show that you are in a different mode, and I just like that concept. Also, it's a really big help for me at conventions because it lets me immediately know if they are playing on Sierra mode, which can be helpful because if I didn't catch them in time to tell them that Sierra mode is hard and it's probably not going to be fun, then I can immediately do so once I see that S. So that's going to be the first thing we work on. Let's go ahead and just jump into that, I think. Because there are a few... Yeah, there's some actually really nice things that I have planned. And that's going to be the first one that's a low-hanging fruit. So, let's go ahead. Let's see. Where? Here we are. Splash fade. How's everyone? I'm doing all right. A little tired still from GDEX, just because standing for 2 days straight, basically, and did not get nearly as much sleep as I should have. And also yesterday, I had to mow a lawn for an hour and a half. So I'm physically exhausted. Um, uh, yeah, actually, one of the most common recurring comments that I get is this going to be the final aesthetic? And it's not like it's a bad thing. They're just people, I guess, have the tendency to assume that all the tech stuff is just a like a so freaking weird. Yeah, like you can see that this is like it should be like that. Whatever. Um, but yeah, apparently the graphics are just so freaking strange to people that they assume they're placeholder at first. Sleep? Yeah, sleep is for the dead. That's what sleep is. Yeah. All right. So this is what the original icon was. You can see that it was at the top. Let's go ahead and so that's I'm guessing 25, 25, 25, and 25. Wow. What the frick are you doing? Oh, interesting. It's centered? Why would I do it like that? Not like that. That seems strange. Well, whatever. Um, so that's the old way of handling it. Basically, I show this. Actually, why don't I just have it be at the top right? Oh, I remember why. I wanted it to be at the bottom left, if at all possible, because that way it was less obtrusive. But I actually think it'll be fine to just keep it at the top left or top right, because I don't use the top right for anything. The only thing I use is the top left for status effects, showing like crouched, in darkness, auto move, and all that. And then the bottom, of course, has info text showing you, saying like it's dark, you're about to be eaten by Gru, all that sort of thing. Um, but I guess it would make sense for us to just have the Sierra icon be at the top right because I don't use the top right for anything. So I would be fine with that, I think. Plus, I wouldn't have to change it depending on if you're left or right-handed. So let's just do that. I think that will be fine. So I'm going to go up to here. Let's open up our HUD view script. College in a nutshell. College, I feel you could sleep a lot more during the day or during class if you're like me. So it wasn't so much as you don't get sleep, more so you just don't sleep during normal hours. Um, can ever think of game ideas? You just gotta think harder. Um, or more specifically, I suppose, think of a game that you would like to play. Or if you're starting out, think of a game that you already like to play and think about how you could change it to make it more interesting for you. All right, so we're gonna go. Oh, wait, hold on. Go ahead and do this and do this. We're gonna change this. Get rid of these. Okay. And then we're gonna actually move this out. You don't need that, actually. Cool, so we don't need any of this anymore, I don't think. Oh, wait. Right. Okay, so that's going to be a thing that we do, actually. Let's go ahead and get that up there. Paste this. That's all good. I'm going to rename the left. Do a couple of things. One, get rid of this because I don't need it. This I do need, I believe, yes. Here, let's get rid of this. Find all references. Good. Get rid of this, and we can keep that. That's all fine. Okay, let me go ahead and clean up the code a little bit. Let's see, serialized field, all that stuff is fine. Critical state, find all good. You're all working. And let me go ahead and change this a little bit. I recently switched my style to have all of my attributes be on the same line, just because it was getting a bit too vertical, in my opinion, for how I was handling these things. So this helps condense my code a little bit. while also keeping it just perfectly readable. All right. Nope, one more. And I always put tooltips last, so that's why I'm kind of moving things like that. All right. I think we are good. Cool. Let's go ahead and rename this real quick. So I'm going to call this rename, and we'll say, I guess we'll just call it Sierra Icon. All right. That should be good. And the thing that I was talking about, saying that we need to well, I guess I didn't explicitly say that we need to change something, but my reaction kind of gave away that we do. I will show you what that is in a second. Once this compiles and I reassign everything. Any day now. Any day now. Once Unity decides that I am worthy of a recompile. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and apply this. Get rid of you. Yes. We're going to rename this to just Sierra Icon. Go ahead and turn this off. And cool. So that's everything. Let's go ahead and apply those changes. And get rid of that. All right, I'm also going to go ahead and turn this UI off. And then I'm going to jump to the Canyon level. Because I think it has the best example of doing what I was talking about, or what I'm thinking of, or rather the easiest example to constantly repeat. So while that level is opening up, the response at GDEX was positive, which is good. Pretty much always get few people that come to the booth and they're like, it's my favorite game at the convention. And I'm always like, thank you. And let's see. I mean, in general, GDEX is always a fun time. If you're ever in the Ohio area or really tri-state area and you have a free weekend on while GDEX is going on, I highly recommend it. Oh, and this is what I was talking about, by the way. So see how we're getting a little bit of a stutter to our label. That's because, one, I'm entering. Oh, it's really hard to do. Hold on. It's so precise. Ugh. So there is a trigger around this cave system. I barely be able to do it. Ugh. That stutter is coming from the two of them fighting each other. Give me a second. Oh, hello. Maybe it's not. Interesting. Are you just not wanting to select it? Let's go to Canyon. Let's select this. Let's go to our zones. Waterfall Cave. Oh, that's why, because it only wants to do it once. The box collider is what's most interesting. There it is. So this yellowish thing is actually the green box collider mixing with the red outline of it. So as soon as we walk into there, it should show a... I'm just going to go ahead and stop playing and then restart. You'll see a little text pop up at the bottom left that says, I think Waterfall Cave or Crowther Cave or something like that. And what that is whenever, you can see at the bottom left right now, it says Canyon. So when I walk in here, it says Crowther Cave. But then as soon as I go into the dark, it blows away that change. So probably what we want to do there is, instead of having it is dark, you're likely to be eaten by Gru, blow away the location where you are. We want to actually have a label specifically for the location, and then we'll have it lerp up really quickly to be filled, or if information has to be stated. So before we do that, I am going to go ahead and jump over to the intro, and we're just going to start a new game and have it be in have it be a Sierra difficulty game, just so that I can double check to make sure that that icon works. But let's see. They're trying to think of anything super crazy that happened at GDEX. Like I said, it's a good time in general. I got to meet, and hang out with a bunch of developer friends that I've met over in Ohio. It was fun talking with a few of them. I wish I got to sit down and talk with some more of them, but it's a busy time, so I understand. Or it's crazy at that place for some developers, so I understand why it's difficult. Let's go ahead and do a new game. This normal, right? Oh, no, I almost did that wrong. Although it did let me test something. Someone told me that. Oh, right, hold on. Return. Crap, there's a way to go back. Q. There we go. Someone noted that pressing B there in the color selection didn't seem to work, and that's a little weird to me. I'm also actually going to go ahead and go back all the way because I want to try typing new game. Huh. Interesting. So I'm going to fix that real quick. I think for some reason I have not coded new game to function there. So let's go to main view. I'm pretty sure that's what I want. Let's see. Right there. Huh. Why would new game not work in that case? I typed it. That's interesting. I'll try typing new and see if that works. It's very weird. Okay. So let's try typing new instead of new game. I wonder if it's a weird input issue. That would certainly be frustrating. Okay, so that works. What about new? Huh. Okay. Let me try. Oh. Ha! I bet that's why. I remember I made a thing to strip away punctuation and all that, but I think I did not include white space chars. So let's go ahead and say and not char dot is white space new value of I. I think that will help with my problem. Okay. Yeah, I had someone type in new game, and I'm like, what? That totally should have worked. Of course, it was something fancy I was trying to do. It always is. All right, then. One day I will be able to do something. Well, until then, another drink. But yes, let's see. GDEX. Had some fun conversations. I was next to a bunch of really cool people. Of course, whenever you go to conventions and show off your game, you see a bunch of really cool stuff. I didn't get a chance to walk around as much as I would like to have. But it does seem like foot traffic was down a little bit from last year. Which is weird because apparently more people were there, but I feel like the ISE area, which was the independent games area, did not see a lot of that. I could be wrong. Maybe it just felt like we didn't see as much. Um, but oh crap, there we go. But I think it was a bit of a weird layout problem because it seemed like the big booth games, like the games that paid the $800 for the super giant booths, were getting tons of traffic, but for some reason none of that seemed to spill out from their alleyway, which is very strange to me. You'd think that that would really be the case. Um, but overall, I mean, it was still a pretty good experience. So yay, there's the S. Cool. Let's go ahead and quit out then. So I'm gonna say quit. Yes. I'm gonna skip back. We're gonna start a new game. And it's just going to be in normal mode. Make sure that it gets turned off, and good. There we are. Cool. Let's go ahead and quit. I don't know why we had to quit. I could have just stopped playing. So that all works. So that's the icon. Now, yeah, now I need to figure out how I want to handle this, the HUD stuff. Because I certainly could have things fly in from off screen. Let's go ahead and turn on our UI. Let's drag our HUD underneath there. So we have our info text down here, which is about the size that I want it to be at, admittedly. I don't want it to be much taller than that. I think that's pretty much all the information I need. The question comes, well, it's not really a question. The issue is, when I don't have any info text being displayed, I would prefer that the location text be at the bottom left or the bottom right, depending on if it's if you're right or left-handed, obviously. And then I would like the info text, if it gets any values, while the location text is displaying, it would be nice for the info text to just kind of move in from off screen and move the what's the term? The location label up, basically. So I think what we can do there is this little trick. Let's go ahead and create a new. Actually, no, let's just be lazy. I'm just going to duplicate this. We're going to parent this to the info text, and we are going to set it to be parented or anchored at the top with a pivot at 0. We're going to set it to be like there, and it's going to be pretty much the exact same thing. We will change its orientation either to be left or right aligned, depending on if you're left or right-handed. And we will also go ahead and give this, I'm going to give it an extra bit of height, or not height, sorry, an extra position of like 10. I think that's good. Let's go ahead and, actually I don't want to shrink this because it's possible to have two rows. So we'll keep that at the same height. So for example, we would see like hallway, castle. That'd be the room that you're in as well as the level that you're in. And then it would be on the left side if you're right-handed, and on the right side if you're left-handed. It's probably fine for us to have it be right-aligned entirely like that instead of trying to make it justified. So that's the idea. And then what we'll do is we'll just have this be called location label. Cool. And info text now, instead of being at a position right here, what we're going to do is we're actually going to have two different positions for it. One on screen and one off screen. When it's on screen, it will be in its current location, and when it's off screen, it's going to be at probably like negative 80, I'm guessing. Let's see. Negative 80. Yeah, it seems about, maybe just negative 75. Yeah, that's good. And then we'll just have it move on screen to positive 10 when we're done. That seems like a good idea. Cool. So what that means is we're going to have to change some things. one is we're going to need to store those locations, I guess. But really, only I need to set the all I need to do is set the height, which is going to be a anchored position value. So that's good. Let's go ahead and go up to here. Open up our HUD view. All right, where do I want to put this? Let's see, what do I got in the inspector so far? Default, all these different alphas. Okay, let's go ahead and add. I'm just going to add a new section down here. So header. I'm going to call this info label positioning. There we go. And then we're going to say serialized field, private vector to info visible pose is equal to new vector 2. That's going to be 0f and 10f, I believe. So that's when it's visible. And then we're going to say serialized field, private vector 2, info hidden pose is equal to new vector 2, 0f, negative 75f. All right. Let's go ahead and add some tooltips to these just so I don't forget what these are, because I always do. And we're going to set this to be, let's see, info visible position, position. When the, hold on. Position to set the info label to when it is visible. Let's go ahead and just copy that. Come down to here, and we're just going to rename that to hidden. And then we'll do two things. We'll say serialize field, tooltip, blah, blah, blah. Copy that. And then we're going to say private float info move duration is equal to, I'm going to say 0.25f. We'll see if that's too fast. I'm a little skeptical. It might be. Let's go ahead and serialize that. We're going to say private animation curve. Info move curve, so we can try to give it a little bit of control. We're going to say is equal to animation curve dot ease in out 0f 0f 1f 1f. Pretty straightforward. Standard ease out curve. I will actually also simplify these to be that, because I made these declarations back before I knew about that. Aha! See, it's a little bit shorter. Isn't that nice? Okay, so this is going to be our duration for the info label to move on off screen. And then we're going to say duration for the info, oh, not duration, curve to evaluate info label movements along. Okay, pretty straightforward. I do have good. Okay, so now if we let that compile, you'll be able to see we have a new section. And while that's happening, I'm going to start coding actually a new coroutine. Let's come down to here, fade coroutine display text. Here we are. So we're going to say, actually, do I want that to be part of this display text? Perhaps. Yeah. I think so. If timed. I get what it's doing. Right. Yeah, that's not quite what I want. Fade coroutine just fades the alpha in. Which is probably, I'll just do it as part of this coroutine. But for now, I want to show you the sections that we have here. So those all seem correct. We get our nice tool tipping. I think we'll be good there. So let's go ahead, and here's where things get annoying. I want it to be part of fade coroutine, except, well, the duration is going to be different. so I have to do something weird here. I need to declare a second float. So I'm going to say float um, move t is equal to 0f. And then we're just going to say up here, if move t is less than 1f, then we are going to say move t plus equals time delta time divided by move duration. Okay, and then we are going to say oh no, well, okay, that might be okay. Label.rectTransform dot anchored position is equal to vector 2, not 3, dot lerp from info hidden pose to info visible pose based off of t. Oh, not based off of t, actually. It's going to be based off of info move curve dot evaluate for move t. There we go. Cool. And all we're going to do after that is we're just going to say if else if move t does not equal 1f, then we're going to just do this. Move t is equal to 1f, and let's go ahead and just set it to be equal to info visible view. Okay, I'm pretty sure that this is not exactly what we want. Yeah, so I need to kind of change this up a little bit. So we're going to say vector 2 start pose is equal to fade in question mark. And if that's the case, it's going to be equal to our hidden pose. Otherwise, it's going to be equal to our visible pose. There we go. Oh, of course, I called it visible. Let's rename that to visible. There we are. Let's go ahead and copy this. Paste this. This is going to be called our end pose. This is going to be. Let's just reverse these. All right. So we're just going to change this now to be end and start poses. So end and start pose. Cool. So that should be pretty much all I need to do. Let's go ahead and let that compile. Oh, right, hold on. It should be equal to our end pose. Cool. We're just going to let that go. Now, actually, here is where things get wonky. What I just coded is technically correct, but it has its own problems, and I will show you what those are in a second. Once I can, move around again. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, so we're going to go ahead and, 1, reset our location label so that it is empty. And 2, we are going to move this to be at -75 by default. Okay, everything else is looking good. Correct. Yes. I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. And before I do anything else, I am also going to set up, hold on, on open. I'm guessing that's where I did it, right? Let's go ahead and close this. Here we are. So we're just going to say if session dot right-handed. Then I'm going to say, oh, that would actually be a good thing now, wouldn't it? I need, right. Hello, Dylan. Or is it, I'm going to assume it's Dylan, because otherwise the emphasis goes to Dylan. So I have to assume that the H is more silent than anything else. Either way, welcome to the Devstream. Text Quest, it does indeed use Unity. How are you doing tonight, by the way? All right. So this, how do I want to structure this? Um, I need to add a new label. So let's go up here, and we're gonna say I'm just gonna duplicate this, paste that, and this is gonna be our uh, location label. So down here, if session.righthanded, we're gonna say location label dot alignment is equal to alignment dot. So if you're right-handed, we want it to be left. Yep, that is pretty much correct. Then we're going to say else. Let's copy this. This is going to be right. Very easy. Cool. And that's pretty much all I needed to do there. I will check to see if right-handed is used elsewhere in this script. Okay, it's not. That's good. So let's go ahead and let that compile. Aced it the first time? All right. Doing good? Well, good. What brings you to my teeny tiny corner of Twitch? I'm assuming people. Well, I always like to ask people when they stop by how they found me, because usually it's just randomly. Or actually, pretty recently, it's been just people looking for programming channels, which apparently there's not a lot of, which I can kind of understand. But either way, boredom seems about right. Well, I can't promise anything, but I can promise I'll do my best to be entertaining. Oh, right, I did almost forget to do that. Location label right there. Let's go ahead and rename this label as well. Label, cool. Let's go ahead and hit apply. All right, so now we're going to jump over to the canyon scene, and we will take a look at this. It's not going to work properly yet because I haven't actually set anything to use the new label, which means that actually I need to come over here to set info text, find all references, which is going to be quite a bit. Let's see, message zone id name. Yeah. How curious. id.string. Right. Right. Okay. So these are the three areas. Nice. So let's go back over here to HUD view real quick, and I'm going to add a set public void set location text string text, and then I guess we'll do float duration and all that stuff. So float duration is equal to 5f. Float fade in is equal to 0.5f. Float fade out is equal to 1f. Well, now that you're here, Dylan, are you a developer yourself, or are you just kind of wandering the wastes, just seeing what's out there? And this is where things get fun. So let's peek this. Info display coroutine, huh? Let's go ahead and say private coroutine location coroutine is equal to null. These are some minor things that we do on the back end. So I'm pretty much going to copy this entire bit of code, just with some minor alterations specifically here. Oh, man, that sucks. Real bad. Yep, okay. So going back to here, peak definition. Jeez. Yeah, so the fade coroutine is only meant to fade alpha, and I tried to shoehorn in non-alpha related stuff, and that's just causing a problem. So I gotta make that a separate coroutine, which sucks. Okay. So let's see, info label. It's not going to be info label. Instead, it is going to be location. Oh, come on, location label. It's going to be our text. It's fade in. Yes, that's correct. With a fade in duration. So that's all good. What's the point of you in this then? No, I don't need you. Go away. Okay. And then we are going to go ahead and say, let's set our location label dot text. Let's go ahead and grab this. Set that to be equal to true. That's all fine. Is equal to text. Let's see. Good. Boredom. Wait, we already did that part. iOS and web mostly. You live the hard life, man. Yes, I will demo it real quick. Give me a second. I want to finish up this bit of coding real quick. So this is going to be our location coroutine. Let's grab this. Oh. Bah! This is just a mess. So we're just gonna let this go, and I will fix this in a second. They're going to be all kinds of terrible, by the way, but you'll see why in a second. So our HUD might be a little bit messed up when I play, but I'll give you the gist of what the game is real quick. As soon as Unity lets me. So in the meantime, I'm going to take a drink. iOS is fun. Okay. I get it. You're secretly a spy for the Apple geniuses, because no developer would actually think that developing for iOS is fun. Not with those 30-minute freaking build times. Alright. So the premise of TextQuest is that it is a first-person text-based adventure where everything in the game is made up of text. So, as you can see, canyon says canyon, dirt says dirt, river says river, waterfall says waterfall, all that stuff. And you can actually interact with everything by typing into a parser. So I'm going to say hold and light lamp with its terrible placeholder sound effect for now. Also, get ready for the HUD to freak out. Yeah. Oh, great. It's actually even worse. Oh, yeah. It's all kinds of screwed up now. Anyway, so the mechanics in a nutshell is that it's a text-based adventure, so you can actually interact with everything. And I'm using that to kind of mess around with a lot of old school text adventure ideas and updating them for a modern audience, because that genre has not really aged that well. So that's the game in a nutshell. It's a little bit slower paced. There's a bunch of other facets to it that I can't really go over right now because I'm in the middle of a refactor in some areas. Also, it would take a while. But if you're curious, if you'd like to actually try it yourself, and I need to update the demo on the website. Pretty sure I made that a thing. Why have I not made that a thing yet? I really should. You can actually download a demo on the website if you are curious. It does look like a debug texture. I get that a lot, especially from other developers. 30 minutes if you still use Objective-C in 2018. I've gotten like 5 minutes the last build times on some smaller scale projects. Yeah, at work we use Unity, and the Unity process for that is like you make a build in iOS, which the compression time on that is like probably for a regular project it's like 5 minutes. Well, not 5 minutes. Maybe it's like 2 minutes for a build there. Then you take it. Then you take it into Xcode. You adjust a few values, and then you make a build there. You put it on the device, and that usually takes about a minute or two. So 30 minutes is a bit blown out, admittedly, yes, but it's still like 10 minutes, I think, for a build process to go through, depending on what you have to do to it, which is a lot slower than like a 2-minute exe build. Yeah. Let's see. Hello, Brennan. I am cool. Welcome to the Devstream. How are you tonight? Unity is still using Objective-C. It does compile out to that. That is correct. Also, hello, Cache Override. Welcome back. How you doing tonight? But you can, but you can watch. Wait, you can rich on watch apps, right? Do you mean you can write on watch apps, or you can write watch apps? Oh yeah, the tons of warnings that you get are disgusting as well on Xcode. Also, just Xcode in general sucks because it's like every time they update it, they change the interface and move things around. They don't tell you where they went, and sometimes things arbitrarily have new requirements, which is annoying. Also, I hate updating Xcode because for some reason, updating anything through the App Store takes forever. Even if it's a 1 GB patch, it's like taking 45 minutes on gigabit internet. It's ridiculous, Apple. Um, Anywho, so I am going to, real quick, let's go over to here. We're going to go to our fade coroutine. I got to change this. So we can't really do this start pose, end pose stuff. I need to make a new coroutine here. That's going to be, let's see, move label, I guess, is what I would call that. Gross. I'm making increasingly more generic things, and I don't know if I need it, but it's fine. So we're going to say private IEnumerator. Move label coroutine tmp underscore text. That's going to be our label. And then we will say vector 2 start pose, vector 2 end pose, float duration, animation curve, and we'll just set that be equal to animation curve dot linear. Let's see if it'll let me do that. I didn't think so. I was hoping, but I didn't think so. Thank you for the follow, Dylan. Xcode. Get rich. Oh, yeah, Xcode is hot garbage. That is very true. Although it's not like Android Studio is much better, admittedly, but Xcode is just crap. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just have always had really bad experiences with Xcode. I really wish I didn't have those bad experiences, but I do. Anywho, so we're going to come back to here. We're going to grab these things. We're just going to get rid of that. We're going to get rid of this whole movement stuff. Let's just get rid of this. We're going to go up to here, paste that, go to here, get rid of move T. Okay. Let's go ahead and space it out a little bit. All right. So we're going to say float T is equal to 0f. Well, thank you very much for the follow, Brennan. I am cool. Blowing up tonight. Android Studio is unusable. Yeah. Yeah, really all of the mobile clients suck in terms of development. And the response, I mean, they don't really have a need to get better because they're the two options. You can either develop for iOS or you can develop for Android if you want mobile. That's it. So they don't really have an incentive to not be terrible. But also, I guess there is a reason why they're so terrible. It's because of all the security features that they have to do, and it's just a pain, and it sucks. But yeah, I really don't like mobile development. It just takes twice as long, and it's twice as hard, and it's twice as bad by the end. Same with web development. Web development's even harder, especially if you're doing WebGL. It's like, well, you have basically 128 megabytes to work with in terms of RAM. That's about it. Or in terms of memory, I guess. I've never made anything for a phone or what I would consider a real game. I mean, even if you're making a small one-off thing, it's still way more time-consuming than just making an exe or an app. Unfair iOS dev is miles ahead, though. Android, yeah, Android still uses Java, I believe, as well. And I mean, kudos to Apple for trying to at least update their pipeline because they have Swift now. And while I think Swift is nonsensical, it's at least a step in the right direction. Anyway, while t is less than 1f, t plus equals time dot delta time divided by duration. And we're going to say yield return null. All right, and we are going to say also label.rectTransform, which I'm going to double check to make sure this is actually caching. Good. Okay. Dot anchored position is equal to vector2 dot lerp from start pose to end pose based off of curve dot evaluate for t. Cool. And then at the end, we're just going to say label.rectTransform.anchored position is equal to end pose. Pretty basic stuff there. Oh, jeez. Oh, my God. That really does suck, though. God, this is just a pain. Yeah, that's a real pain. But I only need one thing to use it, so it's not too bad. All right, so I'm going to go up to here. Let's see, hide darkness, hide info text. Here we are, set info text. So at the end here, we're just going to call start coroutine, and we're going to say move label coroutine, give it info label, give it info hidden pose, info visible pose, followed by info move duration, followed by info move curve. Okay, there's that. Then we're pretty much going to need to do the same thing down here, where we are going to set. Oh, God. Of course, you are way more complicated than you need to be. Okay. So give me a second here. We're going to change this real quick. Go over to here. Go to definition. And then I'm going to say, after all of this, we're going to add float delay. And all I'm going to do here is say while t is less than delay, t plus equals delta time, yield return null. Cool, and then we're going to say t is equal to 0f here. Cool. So that gives us just that little bit of a delay, which we can then come up to here. And I'm going to say 0f for showing it. But then when we want to hide it, I'm going to say start coroutine, label coroutine, info label, info visible pose, info hidden pose, info move duration, info move curve, followed by fade duration for our delay. Okay, I think we're good, so we'll go ahead and let that compile, and I'm pretty sure that will help with this. The only thing that needs to change now is my set location text, but let's see if we can get the movement on and off screen to work. Could be worse, could be Eclipse. Well, Eclipse is still Java. Well, I guess it's not. Eclipse is the actual IDE. I just used it for Java. Swift is actually a nice language, and it's not too verbose. The main reason I don't really like Swift is because I think it's like visual chaos, since you don't have to have line endings. Like, I think you can use semicolons at the end of the line to mark the end of the line, but you don't have to, right? And it just drives me nuts. Oh God, NetBeans. Oh God, I'm getting flashbacks. Jeez. I hated freaking Java development. Real programmers program in Holy C. Just repeat yourself a lot. Example, object x equals new object, but in Swift, let x equal object. Yeah, no, that's true. Although I tend to fall on the side of preferring verbosity. Like, I prefer everything to be very long and explicit as opposed to being short and not explicit, because it makes your code a lot more readable. So I tend to fall on the side of making things very, very verbose, just so that there's no ambiguity about what something is. Um, but I understand that that's not the style that everyone approaches, and you really don't need that approach if you're working by yourself or with a very competent team. I mean, I work by myself on this project, but I tend to forget stuff that I've done a long time ago, so that's a bit of a problem, which is also where verbosity helps come in because I don't have to try to decipher what I did. Um, Anywho, let's go ahead and play here. But yeah, I am not a fan of Java, though. So I've admittedly not used Swift beyond looking at it because my job, like I said, is in Unity, so we don't really do Swift. But yeah, it's mostly just like a cleanliness thing for me. Like I think it looks a little gross. Okay, that's actually not too bad of an effect. Um, and actually, I'm gonna go ahead and stop playing. I'm gonna select our canyon, grab our waterfall cave. Whatever, we'll just make it canyon top, I guess. Let's go ahead and save that. All right, so if we go into here, oh right, they're still doing the same thing. So let's go ahead and reassign our set location stuff. So I'm going to uncomment this out. Location label, text, all this fun stuff. Location coroutine. We don't care about this. Stop coroutine, location coroutine. Else location coroutine is equal to that. And then we will go ahead and say, we don't need to move it. That's fine. So I'm going to actually grab this. We're going to copy this, move it down to here. So we're going to put it below that. Come down here. Then public void hide location text. We'll just have a float fade duration to 1f. And we're pretty much just going to copy this. So let's go ahead and copy this stuff. Move it down to here. We're not going to say location coroutine there. Let's paste that. Paste that. Fade. That's going to be our location label. Okay. And I think we're good there. So let's go ahead and just copy that. Boop, boop, and boop. All right. Pretty good. Let's go ahead and let that compile. Tried Unity and didn't like it. Perfectly valid criticism. Yeah, it's at this point actually in development, I tend to start butting heads with the engine more than I am like working within it easily. So I'm starting to get really frustrated with Unity. Um, it's still obviously better than anything I could program in terms of engine stuff, but it can be annoying to work within its system sometimes. Anyway, I need to go to wherever set info text is being used. So let's go find all references, and we're going to change this for all this fun stuff. So we're going to say, instead of set info text, this is going to be set location text, followed by set location text. And I don't have a fade out, which I do need. So let's go ahead and go back to this. Where's this fade out used? Display text. Right. Okay. So we're going to add this fade out here to our set location text. All right, and then we are going to. Wow, that sucked so hard. God, I'm overcomplicating my HUD. I really am. I tried to make all the stuff generic so that I could use all of my coroutines on individual labels without having to worry about it, but it's really becoming a bit of a problem. Um, well, I suppose what we'll do here is instead of fade coroutine, we'll just have it be set to display coroutine. And then that will give us a duration. Then we'll need a fade out. Right, fade in and then a fade out. Fade out. Okay. So that should work there. Let's go back to here. I'm going to change this. Let's see, duration, fade in, fade out. Looking good there. All right. So the only thing I have left is here. So it's going to be set location text. All right, there we are. Let's try that. I made a really shitty 2D engine once in C to challenge a friend. Yeah, admittedly, the low-level side of programming is just not something that I want to get into. I think it would be cool, but I think it would not be good for me to delve into that. Particularly because I'm a one-man army sort of situation, which means I can't spend 2 years building my engine when I need to just kind of be jumping around from hat to hat. It would be really cool to develop one, but I'm pretty sure I'm not up to task, especially as I am now. Printed Hello World once. It was pretty cool. Let me tell you, man, those Hello Worlds, they are important. Are you not a developer then, Brennan? Let's see. We're gonna go ahead and. Well, no, you said you had made stuff, but you just wouldn't consider it a real game necessarily. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit play. Let's test this out. So I think this will do everything that we want it to. Maybe. At the very least, it should let us have both location and darkness label at the same time. Oh my, that's gross. Oh, that's so problematic. Oh, that's so problematic. Okay, let's take a look at that again. I was not thinking about the height offset problem. Frack. Why is it so high? Oh, that's why. Because it's in the middle. Let's go to the HUD view real quick. Gotta go up to here. We're going to change this from left to bottom left and then bottom right. There we are. That should help a little bit with it. But I am going to have to come up with a solution for the height problem. Oh, that sucks so much. Great. Ugh, that makes things so difficult. Okay. I printed hello world using my own shitty HTML to C compiler once. Wait, compiling HTML to C code? Ugh. That seems... Ugh. Why? Alright, so we get that fade in. So that works pretty well. But then that happens. And why does that happen? Nobody knows. I'm going to turn off Maximize on Play so I can keep an eye on the UI in the scene view here. I don't like that our text is going away so fast. Oh. That doesn't count. it's turning it off. Hold on. Head view, hide info text. Hide location text. Light dock manager. That's all fine. Let's go up to here. So our problem is that it's probably being disabled. Oh. Duh. Of course it's going to be disabled because I'm disabling its parent. Well, I don't need to turn everything on and off, honestly. So I think what I'll do here is I'm going to just comment out the parts where I turn things on or off, and I'll just let their alphas be set to 0, which should be what's happening anyway. Let's get rid of that. So we don't have to set them on or off at all. I think we'll be good. Let's go down here to our coroutine just to make sure I'm not doing something there, because it's entirely possible that I am. Display text, yep, right there. Okay, so it's a little less performant technically to have them not be disabled, but honestly it's not really that much of a big deal. Especially because, well, it's sparing me the on enable and on disable calls that happen whenever you turn on a label. Not a dev yet. I'm a Roblox dev. Don't like calling myself one because it's nothing like this stuff. It's really easy compared to it. Hello, Corpus C. Welcome to the Devstream. How are you doing tonight? Well, development is development, Brennan. Could be the start of a beautiful development career. Actually, a lot of people do start out with mods, so in-game stuff is just as valid. Alright, let's go ahead and save that out. Let's turn on maximize on play and see if we're still getting those problems. Doing good? That's good. I am recovering. Spent the weekend at a convention, which always drains all of the energy out of you. Okay, let's see. Looking good. Yeah, cool. Okay, Well, we're not going away anytime soon, which is a bit disconcerting. Let's see, label text, display text, alpha, fade in, info display coroutine. Oh, why would I? Oh my goodness. Really? Really? Of course. It's fine. Jesus, this is a problem. Find all references. I over genericized myself into a corner. God, this became way more difficult than it needed to be. Alright, so yeah, I'm getting borked by my own display coroutines in my attempts to keep track of everything. So it's never actually finishing because it's never actually fading out, which is quite annoying. There's a peak definition here. All that stuff, doing pretty much everything that I would expect. That's correct. But it doesn't seem to actually stop. So let's see here. Find all references. Let's see where this is manually being called stop. Set info text, set info text, hide info text, hide info text. Fair enough. It's done in display text, and the rest of it's all in display text. Let's see. Even C++ is easy to get started with. The hard part is making complex programs. Program with Lua. Don't know how JavaScript lets you use semicolons. Or I don't like how JavaScript lets you use semicolons, but doesn't enforce them. Yeah, pretty much any language that has optional line endings like that drives me crazy. Because I'm just like, why even have it as standard if you're not going to enforce it? Also, hello, the Blind Bandit. Welcome to the Devstream. How are you today? / tonight. Lua seems to be a language, admittedly I haven't done too much with Lua, but it seems to be very useful for things like mods. Just because it's apparently, from my understanding, pretty decent in terms of runtime compilation, but I've never really used it myself. I just know that a lot of engines have Lua support for mods. Okay, so why on earth would it not fade in all the way and then go away? So let's go ahead and let this compile. Let's clear this out. I'm just going to let it, I'm going to walk into the cave and not trigger the, oh, that's why. That makes sense. Yeah. So if I don't trigger the darkness, I think this will be fine. If I do trigger the darkness, it becomes a problem. So let's go ahead and, so we're going to let this go. It should go away. Okay, yep. So cool. We're going to be passing out references to code routines. Blah! Freaking gross. All right, so this is going to be... No, it's not going to be out. It's going to be a ref. Right. Yeah, ref only works with the basic parameters, doesn't it? Can I make it an out? Nope. Cool. So that really sucks. Big time. As in just, in general. So, why do I even try? Cool. Then I'm just going to do this. Copy this. We're going to move this. This is really stupid on my part. Yeah, you know what? No. Let's just refactor this chunk of code. Display text, find all references. So the idea for display text being generic like this was that I could pass in different labels and then pass around different values so that I wouldn't have to write the same code multiple times. However, it's a problem because I keep canceling my info display coroutine, which means that it's going to cause issues. The fact that I can't reference a freaking coroutine in an enumerator means that I can't really make it work now, can I? So, what do we do? This is rather annoying. I suppose the easiest thing to do would be to make it... Oh, nope, see, that won't work. It will not work, will it? Let me see where this is used. Is it only used in set info text? Hide info, that's good. Location. Distance indicator, it's used there too. So this would cause problems there. Yeah, I didn't think that through very well, did I? I did not. Cool. Oh yeah, that is pretty bad though. What programming language starts at 1 instead of 0? Honestly, the worst language ever is probably Scheme. It's god awful and it's useful only in like very, very specific circumstances. I hate it. I will hate it till the end of my days. It is the worst thing that was ever invented by man. It is a blight upon the world, and I hate it. It needs to go away forever. Um, let's see. So I hate this is nuts to it. Just screw it. We're just just screw it. Hold on. Fade radical, hide effect overlay, show effect, hide. Here we are. Distance coroutine is not equal to okay. Distance coroutine is equal to that. That's all fine. But the problem comes from info coroutines. Why do we even have this be here? Why do we care? Why do we want you to? We don't. I don't. So this just fades. This has multiple coroutines in it, which is gross. So that's 3 coroutines per thing. God, this is going to be so disgusting. Yeah, all right. We're going to hand rewrite this. Hand rewrite that. I say like it's like a crazy thing that I'm doing. Let's just go ahead and copy this. Actually, here, let's do this the easy way. I'm going to copy this. And because I'm paranoid, I always like to copy and then comment out so I can delete it later. Come back down here. We're going to copy this fade coroutine. So we're going to move its contents basically down into the actual coroutine proper here. Okay, so we're going to grab this. Okay. Right. Fade in. Why are you mad? Oh, right. Right. Well, so this is true, which means fade out in min alpha. Okay. So this is going to be fade out. What's this fade coroutine parameters? Just be sure fade in. That's going to be true. Fade out is our duration with min alpha 0. Okay. So our duration is going to basically be fade out, I guess. Okay. No, it's going to be fade in, I guess. Fade in. All right, and then we're going to say the alpha is going to be lerping from min alpha to max alpha, I think. Okay, based off of t, that's all good. Alpha is going to be equal to max alpha by the end. Cool. And then we're going to basically do the exact same thing, but in reverse. So we're going to go ahead and copy this. Go down to here. Paste. Wow, I was so terrible when I was coding this thing. I do not know what I was thinking. This is just awful. We're going to say t is equal to 0f, while t is less than duration. Say t plus equals time dot delta time divided by duration. Okay, get rid of this. Plus equals. Oh, geez. Only nil and false or false. Yep. I will say that's the only good thing that I do remember about Scheme is when I was learning it in class. There was a saying like everything is true except false, which is kind of a good saying in my opinion. But um, Okay, so we're going to do that. Then we're going to yield return null. That way we can get rid of that yield or that wait for seconds. So the reason that I just rewrote that little line instead of just using this is because this line generates garbage and therefore it does not need to exist. It can go away forever and burn. And then what we're going to do down here is we're going to say t is equal to 0f again. While t is less than that, this is going to be then fade out. Okay. We are going to be lerping from max alpha to min alpha. And at the end, we're going to why? Hold on. No, this is going to be equal to min alpha. Okay. So we're good, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we're good there. So let's go ahead and try that. Let's see what happens. I'm a little concerned, but all right. You'd love JavaScript then. Array is equal to true. Well, array equals true. Empty object equals true. 0 equals true. 0 equals false because it's the actual 0, not the string 0. Yeah, 3 equal signs. Oh god. Yeah, I have a plugin on for Google Sheets, and it's written in Google's weird format, which is basically just JavaScript. And good God, I try to lock everything down as much as possible with triple equals because I hate doing double equals comparisons in JavaScript because it's like a less precise version of. It's just JavaScript sucks sometimes. I mean, it kind of makes sense given that most of the web standards are basically like, treat people who are coding this like babies just in case they mess up. Um, so they just want to make sure that your code, no matter what, runs, and it's some dedication to that. But okay, let's see if the Crowther goes away. Really, you stupid code routines. Let's see if it doesn't. If it goes away, if I don't start the dark transition. If it doesn't, then it means that I'm still having it set somewhere. That's really, really dumb. Okay, so we'll let that go. I need 4 equals. Okay. So interesting. So something's gone wrong there. Let's go to, let's see, up here. Set location text, display text. We're giving it, let's see, we have a duration, fade in, fade out, min alpha 0, max alpha 1. Let's go ahead and go over to here. Display text, label.alpha is equal to 0f, which we are getting the fade in at least. Although, funny enough, coroutines, location coroutines, I don't. I'm doing this, and I don't really need to do that because I'm already setting it elsewhere, so that's a little pointless. Okay, so let's go back to here, and I guess I could. This to here. I suppose. Move this up to here. Okay. Max alpha, while t is less than duration. Duration, blah, 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 blah. So real quick, just I'm going to debug these values. So debug.log, string.format, blah, blah, blah. And we're just going to say, let's debug the message. Well, actually, we'll do duration, fade in, Fade out. Then the message. Duration. Fade in. Oops. Fade out. And then the text. Okay. Just so that I can see what those values are, make sure everyone's not getting something stupid like math or float.infinity. No, they tried to make people's lives easier, and they made the majority of people's lives easier, except for the people who actually want to use the software. They made those people's lives harder. And who cares about those people? Oh, man. Web development. It really is a crapshoot. All right. So we have. Okay. Then why aren't you stopping? Alpha is equal to max alpha. Which I guess I can just get rid of that. We're going to have our delay there. That's all fine. Oh, well, that's part of the problem. There we go. I can just do that. That was me being stupid. So that's, oh, shoot. Nope, Unity, you can't hot compile. Stop it. Stop it, Unity. Now we're just going to have to suffer through it. I hate doing that. Going back to Unity after making an edit while still in play mode. Because Unity's just like, can't load the scripts. I can't do this. And I'm like, yeah, I know you can't. Unity. Stop it. There. There. Let's try that again. So I think that might have been our issue though. Because what that would have been doing is saying while t is less than, I'm guessing it was 5, we want to increment in the duration divided by 5, so it'd be 5 times as long, so it'd actually be something like 5 times 5, 25 seconds, and it would have eventually faded out. I just didn't wait. Well, thank you for the scent, Line Bandit. Hmm. Also, I missed your comment earlier. I think, yeah, the white space stuff. Yeah, white space is always a nightmare trying to to handle white space in strings. Okay, so now it should fade out. There we go. Good, good. Except now we kind of have to. Well, assuming that this works properly, we're going to have to handle height scaling, which is going to be more of an annoyance. Okay, let's see if the cave goes away. Yay! It does. How nice. Um, so I'm going to. Jeez, this is so annoying. So our HUD works. Now I'm going to go ahead and run back in and then run out while I have both of the labels on, and they should both fade out. So we need to figure out height positioning, which is the more annoying thing, because it needs to dynamically scale to be whatever the height of our label is. That makes things very, very difficult. Okay, now across the cave should fade out. Yay! All right, looking good. So, yeah, here's where things get a little bit more iffy. Let's jump real quick to our splash fade scene. I'm gonna pull up the HUD. So here's where things get interesting. We want to change our info label. and we want it to dynamically size, which is going to be difficult because, well, if it's going to dynamically size, that means that our location label needs to size, well, it needs to move along with it, which actually means that probably what we need to do is instead of having it be, so it's going to be anchored to the bottom still, but instead of having our pivot be at the bottom, it's actually going to be at the top, which means that our position when it's hidden is going to be 0, and its position when it's visible is going to be the height of it, plus 10. So we would say, in this case, position Y would be 75, that puts us there, plus 10, which gets us 85, because we want 10 for our buffer. So that means that we need to change our function a little bit. So instead of having hard set visible and invisible positions, we are now going to have neither. We will have an invisible position that is always 0, 0, 0, I guess. It doesn't really matter what our X position is. It doesn't need to change there. But our Y position is now kind of going to go in reverse, which is going to be a little weird. In addition, I do need to change this. Oh, this is going to suck really, really hard. So I'm going to do a couple of things real quick. So first up, we're going to go to layout. We're going to set this as a layout element. We're going to set it to ignore layout. We're going to set this as a layout element as well. However, this is actually going to be layout. It's going to be a vertical layout group. It doesn't really matter. It's an arbitrary thing. And it's going to be, let's see, layout content size fitter. Will that work? Jeez, maybe. Preferred size. I think that works. Oh, dang it, of course. Hold on. So this is going to be vertical size, preferred size. That's fine. We're going to put our position at 0. And let's test this. So this is going to be like the end, or the test case. All right. So now that gives us a height of 32. So let's just do like 32 plus 10. That looks correct. And then if we have our location label, we'll just say canyon. Boom. Nice. Isn't that nice? So it's a little awkward, but it should work just fine. Okay. So what we're going to do there is we're going to get rid of this. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to get our position to be 0. We're going to hit save here. And here's where things get fun. We're going to go up to our HUD view. Good. So I'm going to get rid of this hidden and invisible position, and I am going to replace this one with a float value, actually. And we're going to say 10F. We're going to change this to a float. Info visible offset is what I'm going to call that. Okay, that'll break some of this stuff, but I will show you why in a second. Right. Okay, yeah, this is going to be fun. So I guess I'm going to pass this in as true, and then the other one's going to be false. Cool, let's go to this move label coroutine. We're going to change this from start pose and end pose to be bool show, I guess. Right? Because I did true and then false. Yep, cool. So let's come back over to here. We are going to now say yield return null. So I have one frame yields because I need to be able to know that TextQuest Pro or Text Mesh Pro has updated properly. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, in addition to float t equals 0f, we're going to say vector2 start pose is equal to show question mark. If that's the case, then vector 0, else it's going to be equal to new vector2 0f, and then label.rectTransform.size. Yeah, that's fine. Size delta.y plus offset. Okay, that's our start pose. Then vector2 end pose is equal to show question mark. And it's just going to be these, but in reverse. So vector2 0. Okay, now everything else should be pretty much the same, so we'll let that go. So now it should dynamically detect basically where it needs to go, and it will automatically handling offset and all that stuff. So now we shouldn't have that awkward gap between our labels. They should be a little bit more compact. Okay, we gotta let that compile. So while it's happening, I'm gonna take a drink. Okay. There we are. Let that clear. Let's apply our changes here. Let's close this. Get rid of this. Hit save. Let's jump over to the canyon level. And then everything should work. Because it always does. And I never have trouble at all. I'm so bad at using Blender. Why is that? I am also terrible at using Blender, but I can somewhat use Maya. Aha! Yes, isn't that nice? Ha 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 ha! That's so cool. Cool. So that's exciting. We now have that working. Let me make sure that this not close enough goes away after a while. Cool. Cool. And if you're going away, cool. Sweet. So that still works. Make sure that this doesn't. Yep. Cool. So all of these seem to work together. Play nice, which is good. Cool. So I think that's a pretty good place actually to stop for the night. And actually, one of the side benefits of this is that we have motion at the bottom now instead of just fade in. So it makes that information showing up a little bit more descriptive. Let's go ahead and stop playing. There's so many buttons that do different things. Yeah, 3D modeling interfaces have progressively gotten crazier and crazier. I still think that Maya's like Omni selection tool is by far the best example of that, where it's like hover the mouse in the middle of the screen, then press the space bar and have 50,000 options. Oh, and then hold down Alt and space to get a different 50,000 option menu. There's always a ton, and to be fair, it's because you need to be able to do a bunch of different very specific things in 3D modeling. Anyway. I think that's a pretty good place to stop for the night. So we handled we handled one small-ish thing, a feedback that I got from, well, not feedback, actually, that's a note that I took from GDEX, as well as fixing an issue that I have been thinking about for a while, and I just never have taken the time to do. So it's nice to have those things in order. And we made things a little bit more performant, a little bit less garbage generating, a little bit less terrible. Which is really all I try to do every day, just be a little bit less terrible than the last. So I think that's a pretty good place to stop. Thursday we'll probably continue our little bit of fixes and adjustments based on GDEX feedback. But yeah, announcements. I will not be doing a Devstream this Saturday because I'm going to be out of town at another convention. Well, not a convention, but a conference. So I will not be doing a Devstream on Saturday. I will be posting about the conference I go to, and I'll hopefully be playtesting down there. But it's not like a show off to a bunch of players. It's more of a small get-together of game developers from the area, from the tri-state area, I want to say. So it's just going to be a lot of fun, and just get to talk with a couple of people that I haven't talked to in a while. So, but I'm going to be out of town, so I won't be able to stream. So yeah, all right. That seems like a pretty good place to stop. So as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.